relax, the keyboard is off and the press box is closed, but the mic is just getting warmed up. Welcome to the Hockey Writers Ink, the show where the writer is fresh off the presses and the ink is not dry. Join your host, Lance Green, the guardian of the blue paint turned writer, and co-host SteelFlyers, as we bring you all the latest on the Philadelphia Flyers. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Hockey Writers Ink with your host, Lance Green.
Yes, sir. Steel, thanks for doing another show with me, as always. I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah, me too. I tell you what, man, we got another really good one here for you lined up, folks. Oh, man. It just seems like we always just seem to do a show, like after a couple of games, it just kind of works out that way. You know, the Flyers play a couple of games, we do a show. The Flyers play a couple of games, we do a show. Hey, what do you know? It's like we know what we're doing. But speaking of knowing what we're doing, how about this, folks? We're going to step off here with episode number 147. Flyers in a New York state of mind, sort of. And they just played, the last three games were against the Islanders, the Rangers, and the Islanders. So that's kind of where we get that. And we have a bit of a breakdown here on the last three games and what we think is going on here. This is a Flyers-centric podcast, and Lance is the writer extraordinaire. He writes the articles, and I give you the gibberish,
In between, yeah?
Yeah, in between, right? There you go. How about that? So there's a lot of things that we want to get into, so let's dive right in, shall we, Lance?
I will get my dive cap ready. Yeah.
All right, your dive cap is ready and strapped on, and here we go, folks. Okay, so let's talk about the first game, the New York Islanders. We play against the New York Islanders on Wednesday, and this was the Wednesday right before Thanksgiving.
Right.
And talk to me about that game a little bit, Lance. What
It definitely didn't turn out the Flyers' way. You're going in facing the Islanders, who have been struggling even more so than we have this season. The Flyers looking really good at points this season and then looking really bad at points this season. As such, you'll find with a team with so many young guys in the lineup and stuff like that. Learning curve, if you will. But
that's a good way to put that.
yeah, I mean, it's tough to really say. I mean, they played a physical game. Carter was in net for that one, and didn't really look like the Carter that has been the whole season so far. So no real standouts of anybody in particular. Nobody really impressive. Farabee had a decent goal and stuff like that, but
there's one thing about that game that stuck out for me, and
right.
And this is one thing that I can say that has been kind of like a growing theme this whole year for me has been the play of Sanheim. How he has elevated his game to that next level. Because of his putting on that extra bulk, now he's added that physicality to his game, right?
Much needed. We talked about for years, yeah?
Okay, right? And so this was one of the things that he needed to do, and he finally did it. And look at the results that he's able to produce, the offense that he's able to produce, the muscling guys off of pucks, the standing guys up at the blue line, being able to have that extra poundage and that extra muscle to knock guys off the puck and to not be knocked off the puck, right?
Right.
So his play has been impressive, but one of the things that I really liked about what he did was he stuck up for himself in that game. Yes, he was penalized for what he did because it's always the guy that retaliates that gets the penalty, right, against Anders Lee. Anders Lee drove him into the net to where he slammed into the net very dangerously and awkwardly. And there was a scrum that ensued after that play, and where Anders Lee cocked him once,
right?
Sanheim cocked Sanheim in the face, right? And then very few seconds after that, Sanheim very clearly, close-fisted, glove on, pop! Right to the smackers of Anders Lee. And then, the arm, and then
Yeah.
that's the penalty, right? See? So,
But that is something that we haven't seen from Sanheim ever before this season. And that's why I think you're touching on it for sure. We've talked for years on how big this guy is on the blue line and how much he just used to poke check guys and let the good ones go right by him that could go easily through that.
exactly,
And
exactly.
Sanheim is finally being a little physical, like Steele said. He's getting in the dirty areas. He's trying to move guys out from in front
Yeah.
of the net. He's checking. He's getting a little feisty in the scrums and stuff like Steele is saying as well. And that's all good things. That is all good things that we've wanted to see for years now from Sanheim. So better late than never, I guess, Steele. But definitely good things from him. As you said, we've been talking for the past few weeks. He's leading the team in points with 16 right now, even over Konechny and Farabee and Atkinson and all those guys. So, he's contributing not only offensively, but now more so defensively, like the team has paid him such to do. So,
Exactly.
he has been a standout for the defense this year. Somebody had to step up with Provorov being gone, and he has seemed to do so for sure.
Exactly. That's kind of what my point was. Is that although there's, look, in spite of what everybody says, and the quotes from Jonesy, we're not going away, we're coming back, and all this other stuff, and yeah, I get it, but you're still kind of sort of towards the tail end of a rebuild. So you still have a lot of young guys, so there's still going to be mistakes. There's still going to be things that are going to happen. You're still going to lose games. You need to expect to lose games. You can't always, yeah, I know you're trying to win now. Okay, and it makes complete sense because you have enough talent on this team. I mean, to think that there's not any talent on this team, that to me is absurd. To think that there's no talent on this team outside of the darlings. You know what I mean, right? So you can't tell me that a Selke Award-winning center in Couturier is not a talent. You can't tell me that Cam Atkinson, an All-Pro or an All-Star, is not a talent. You know what I mean? You're saying that Konechny's the only talented player on this team? Really? So the reason why I'm getting into all this is because the game against the New York Rangers, the Flyers had a chance to win on Black Friday. It was another physical game. It was another high-spirited game, as it always is with the Rangers. Let's face it, they're not exactly our buddies.
Right.
You know what I mean? But the Flyers were, you can't give up 2 goals to the Rangers and then not expect to have a fight on your hands and try to get back. But they were handed 6 opportunities to do so. Okay, and they completely just we don't need them.
Right.
0 for
Well,
6
yeah,
on the
I
power
mean,
play.
yeah, as you alluded to me before the show even started, they don't have a whole lot of luck on Black Friday, do they?
No.
Uh, you know, uh, what's the record on Black Friday? You
Oh,
said?
it's paltry.
Yeah,
It's really paltry, man. There's a
pretty
couple of
horrible.
wins sprinkled in, but for the most part, the last couple of years, it's been bad.
Not too good. Not too good at all. But in this case, as well as the cases has been in many years, uh, Chris Kreider and Mika Zibanejad destroy the
Ooh,
Flyers every time they
congratulations!
play
That
them.
was good. I'm
Yeah, yeah.
impressed, man. Lance, you
You know
did
what I
that
mean?
very good. That was good.
Well,
Thank you. That
the
was good.
sad part is I'm used to hearing it on the telecast or
All the time.
announced, over
Yeah. The
by the
announcers.
speaker, of course,
Yeah.
when they score. So it's so frequently you can't help but get those right now. They just flyer killers, and instead of having two guys on these guys at all times, the Flyers let them get away with it again. And, with Zibanejad scoring 2 and Kreider scoring 1 in this game. And I mean, that essentially took it from being a tie game to them easily winning with the likes of you saying, like, no power play, you know, chances that converted and all that. Just rough game. Not something that you wanted to see the day after Thanksgiving, and you're so thankful for so much, but then the Flyers leave you this egg.
Lay that egg there for you. 2 of them in
Yeah,
a row, actually. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Because they were 0 for on the New York Islanders power play as well, too. I think they only got 1 in that game. But still, yeah, you need 1? Really? Only
yeah,
1?
yeah.
Um,
A lot
but
of chances.
that's what I'm talking about here, man. Okay, the 0 for 6 against the Rangers. You had a chance to win that game if you could have potted 2 of those goals, right? That's that's only with 30. That's not even, that's what, 20 some percent maybe. 2 goals out of 6. No, that's like
33.
33.33333%. Hey man, what? I'll take that. Come on, jeez, what? You know, uh, if you would have scored those on 2 of those chances, and they were full on power plays, there was no, there's no excuse and say, oh, they only had a power play for 26 seconds because of all the other penalties. No, 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 no. They had full on 2-minute power plays. What do you? Okay. You have an opportunity to win this game against the Rangers, and because of the failure of your power play, you cannot seal the deal. These are the kinds of games that you need to win now at this time of the year, especially against the Metro Division teams like the Islanders, like the Rangers, like name any of them. Because you need these points at the end if you even want to think about any kind of playoffs. I mean,
Mhm.
okay. I mean, the only thing that they did was they came back the other night and played a really good game against the Islanders and won that game. So they were, 1-2 going into the state of New York, and but the 2 part is the scary part. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man.
Well, I think in this last game, it was an exciting one. They were able to put 40 shots up on Sorokin, and peppered him throughout the whole
And,
game.
and he's one of the
Uh,
better goalies going.
yeah, I mean, you know, uh, and in shootout fashion as well. They ended the game with Tyson Forster, who we've all been saying needs to get going. Has had his chances again and again and again. I think he had 6 shots on goal in this
Eight,
game
eight
alone.
shots, 8 shots on goal.
Yeah. So this game, he finally got going. He finally hopefully uses this goal in the shootout to really get going for the rest of the season, and take off because man, he's been snake bitten to this point. But the kid can fire the puck. He's got one of the better shots on the team.
Yeah.
Um,
He's doing all the
you
right
know,
things, man. He's
with
doing all
with
the right
Owen
things.
Tippett and all as well. But you know, doing all the right things like you said. But has been snake bitten up to this point. He's finally got a goal in a shootout fashion, which has got to be fun for him, and maybe gain some confidence here, and that's definitely what he needed. Um,
Especially
you know, be,
against Sorokin, one of the better goalies out there. You
yeah,
know what I mean? It's not like he was going up against, a third or second string guy, or you know what I mean? Like he was going up against the main man. You know what I'm saying? So I
yeah.
liked
I
it.
mean,
I thought it was good.
they've been putting Forster with players too. It's not like they're burying him on the fourth line playing with you know Nick and stuff down there. They're playing him on the top lines as they should with, and like they did with Frost. When he was first coming up, they're putting him with players that can play, and
I have
we'll
no
see.
problems.
You know,
I
we'll
got no
see. Hopefully, it
problems with
takes off.
Forster's game at all. None.
No,
He's not turning the puck over.
right.
Okay, he's making very few of those kinds of mistakes. He's very heady. He's making good passes. He's doing good setups, right? He's doing all the things that Frost is doing, quote unquote. He's setting guys up and he's doing all those things, except that he's actually, I think he's playing a little better. Do you know what I'm saying? Than Frost. That's why I think he's still in the lineup. That's why he's not going to come out. Do you know what I'm saying? Let's get into that now a little bit because there is some talent on this team here, but and I think we already covered the second portion of what I wanted to cover was this whole breakdown of this 0-6 on the power play.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of beat that in the ground, and my article put all the stats in it for you
Right,
and everything like that
right.
leading up to
So
it. It's still a problem. It's going to
how soon?
remain a problem until the problem behind the bench is gone.
Right,
Um,
exactly. I
you
mean,
know,
the
so
latest quote from him, especially after the Rangers game, was, "Hey, so you were 0-6 on the power play. Yeah, I don't want to talk about the power play. Well, why not?
right.
Why don't you? You're 0-6. You've been what? 3 out of 34 for the year. What are you
Mhm.
talking about, man? You're actually like really you're okay. Anyway, so here's the thing that I wanted to touch on, and what we talked about here was over the last couple of games we've had Frost out and Brink in, and then we've had um, Brink out and Frost in.
Trying
What's
to get some different looks there as playing different teams and what they feel they need. Man, I wouldn't take Brink out of the lineup. I don't know. That's just
I wouldn't
me.
either.
He's an exciting player, and Frost has been there for multiple years, and and
Still
stuff.
not
But this
seeing it.
kid, this kid needs the games.
I agree.
He needs
Yeah.
the game, and he's just coming back from injury. He's playing healthy. He's got 10 points on the season. Like let's go. Let's keep him in the game and see what he can do. At one
I'm with
point
you.
he was right up there with the top rookies of this crop
I
this
agree.
year. So
Yeah.
why take him in and out of the lineup? Let him keep working on that. I don't know the logic behind that, but we shall see, I guess.
So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about a little bit is that, we don't, I think, I can't really compare Brink and Frost because they're two different kind of games. They want Frost to play the Brink game, but he can't. Does that make sense?
I mean, yeah, it makes sense. They're two different positions there, one a center, one a wing, but still, you don't see that real drive, that hunger out of Frost in my mind. He gets chances and all, but it's not consistent night in and night out, and I think that's what's got him out of the lineup at times. He can kind of disappear. He scores a lot of his goals when the team is facing backup goaltenders or empty nets. In especially last year and all like that. So that type of you know ability that you said you see through other players like Brink and Forrester, who are coming on and being able to produce against top guys and Sorokin and other guys, that are highly acclaimed. I don't see that through Frost.
Yeah, I don't
He
either.
doesn't have the finishing ability that Owen Tippett and such has against the top goaltenders of the league. He's still scoring goals against guys that are up and down from the AHL or career backup goaltenders. So
I got you. Okay. And we both agree that we think that Brink is a much more exciting player, even though he's not a center. Do you know what I mean? I still like Brink out there.
we don't need one. We have Cates that they're using as a wing now when Frost is in the lineup. So
What's that? Look,
I said we don't really need another center right now because you got Noah Cates who can play center very well, who's being used as a wing when Frost is in the lineup.
because look, at the beginning of the year, Tortorella said that he was not gonna take Cates out and remove him from center, and he's done it now.
Yeah.
Okay, and he's put Frost in that place, and I don't think that. I just see. Look, it just seems like it's trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to say that Frost doesn't have some talent and skill and all. I'm not trying to say that at all. But what I'm trying to say is that he just seems to be like the round peg in the square hole here, where other players seem to be more of the square peg to go in. Do you know what I mean? Like the Brinks, like the Foresters, like it just seems like there's other guys that are a little bit more suited. I would much rather see Cates playing down the middle. I also like Foling as the center as well too. I don't have a problem necessarily with Lawton down there on the fourth line, but I don't like Lawton playing those little bit of minutes. Lawton has a much better game. He needs to be third or second line, period. Do you know what I'm saying? To have him down there, and now, yeah, I get it. They start most games with the fourth line and all that, and I get it. And a lot of times you'll see that fourth line out there in a lot of crucial situational moments during the game. Do you know what I'm saying? But to have Scott Long down there like that, I just think that's a disservice to him. I'm not saying that, taking that as a demotion or anything like that. I just think he has a better game, that he needs to be more on the second or third line instead of the fourth line. Does that make sense?
It does. I mean, he deserves it. He's played for many years. Came in at a young age. And has proved himself every year when the odds have been against him, and he needs to be playing second or third line minutes on at least on this team. He doesn't need to be playing lesser time. He needs to be on the ice to be effective. He's much more than the few goals and the points that he does get. He's very helpful in the power. The power. The penalty kill, as well as the forecheck into the zone when his team's in there. He's usually the last one in transition off the ice because he's trying to keep the puck down in the zone when the team is changing, the offensive zone when the team is changing, to give the next group of guys that are fresh the better chance to score a goal. He does all the little things well, and Scotty Lawton, there's a reason why he wears an A on his chest. And that's just it, guys.
Should
He,
be a
he needs to
C, but
play. He needs to play. He's underrated. He's one of the most underrated players in the league, I think. Does a lot of things that maybe somebody that doesn't play the game themselves may not notice on a nightly basis.
exactly, and that's why I'm a little bit scratching my dome here a little bit on some of the moves that Tortorella's making. But like I said, I'm not in the room, so it's he's got more of a handle on the team than I do apparently, and so he's the one with the Jack Adams awards, and he's the one with his name on the Stanley Cup, not me. You
Right.
know, but I sit back and I do the analytics, and I question some of these things because I see players that maybe are a little bit more talented and have a little bit more skill should be playing higher in the lineup than where they are. Do you know what I mean? Just because you're
Mhm.
trying to give a guy a look. Okay, after how many years now, or how much more time do we need to look at somebody? Okay, I'm tired of hearing that, giving a guy a look. Look, if you bring Ronnie Attard up, if you bring Emil Andre up, or if you bring in Ali Lixell, right? If you bring any one of those guys up, that's a look. Okay? Seriously. You don't need to look at Brink. You don't need to look at Forrester. You don't need to look at these guys. Okay? Seriously. Either these guys are in or they're not. Right? I understand that you might want to put in certain guys for different situations, where you might want to have different players to go up against different other kind of players. I get that, and that's a great chess match, and I'm all down with that. But to constantly be up and down and in and out and yo-yoing it, man, that's just not the way to go as far as I'm concerned.
It messes with team chemistry as well, or line mates chemistry, even better. Guys have got to get used to playing together and on a line together, to trust each other, to know where each other are on the ice at all times. And they're not going to be doing so when the lines are being changed around so frequently. Practice is one thing, but in-game situations is another. And these guys are kind of showing that, like, being broken up so much and being switched around, like you said, like chess pieces. And when a team is struggling like that, yeah, that's something that you do to try to find a missing link or something to be brought in, like you said, maybe with a Ollie, Lexel and stuff from the Phantoms coming in. But it's definitely something to think about moving forward. These guys have to get used to playing with each other in order to excel, and it's not going to be done, flip flopping every single night.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to say that I would be a better coach or anything like that. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to go down that road because I'm not that guy. Okay, but from an analytics perspective and sitting back and looking at this team over the last 30 odd years, and being able to see trends and follow trends, and then now following analytics, and you're like, well, why do they keep doing that? What's the reason behind why Brink is out and Frost is in, and then Frost is out and Brink is in? Why can't you have them both on at the same time? Why are you constantly flip flopping these two guys? What's the deal? Okay, I think you're going to get a lot more continuity if you make a decision on some of these players and say, this is who we're going to go with. Okay,
Right.
and then if anything untoward were to happen, any injury or anything else like that, then you could say, we'll bring so and so in, and he can cover and he can do whatever and he can do whatever. That's all I'm trying to say. It's that continuity. It's that being on the same line with the same guy, having that chemistry with guys. It's like as soon as you start to see chemistry with somebody, and then the next game, boop, oh, you're somebody else now. And it's like, but I mean, I get you're supposed to be able to play with everybody, but seriously, man, if there wasn't a Backstrom to the Ovechkin, do you think Ovechkin would be as good as he is? Right? Seriously? If you think that if there wasn't a Draisaitl to McDavid, that he would be as good as he? Seriously, come on.
Hmm.
I'm just
Well, let's
saying.
talk about that. Let's talk about some. You mentioned Draisaitl, some potential rumors that have been going on, and
Yeah, I've seen some of that.
Danny Briere basically coming out and saying that they're willing to trade some pieces because they're not really. They know they're not playing this year to win a championship, right? And they're playing for the future, and trying to build for it still. And some guys that have been on the trade mill, the rumor mill, or whatever you want to talk about is Carter Hart to start,
Which we've
which
talked
has
about
been linked,
before.
of course, to the Edmonton Oilers, and that definitely need a goaltender right now. They're paying a guy buku bucks to, like we are, in Cal
Jack
Peterson
Campbell.
to play in the minors right now,
Yeah.
and they're really struggling. And a team that's so offensively talented needs goaltending. And in my mind, most fans, I think, would say it's crazy to trade Carter Hart, and to a point, I would agree with you. But the Flyers, in a sense, have some pretty good goaltenders in the system right now. They've drafted a few. A few are surprisingly good right now, playing in the MHL and the KHL overseas. Now, if they can garner some of them to come over here or convince some of them to come over here, that's another story. But Some big names have possibly been placed on the waiver or the trade wire um, in Edmonton to right this situation. So they've already kind of said that it would take a lot to get rid of Carter Hart. Obviously, a first round pick and some top prospects, and potentially even a roster player to come back of significant interest. Now, that is pretty substantial when you're considering this team is going to be actually competitive, fighting for a division championship or whatnot, and potentially a real risk in the playoffs, or in a couple of years' time when some guys like Mitchkov and Cutter Gauthier arrive, as well as Bonk and some other players that are coming on. So definitely some interest there by teams, but I think a more likely player to be moved would have to be a Sean Walker in a sense, a
Well, wait a minute.
defenseman.
Hold on a second. Hold on.
Yeah.
Let's just stop right there. So, who on the Oilers? I mean, it ain't gonna be McDavid.
Well, not McDavid, but they're cap strapped as well. And if you look, it might sound crazy, but Draisaitl's name been mentioned. He's been there. He's been drafted since 2014, and the team.
Yep.
Although, I mean, good grief, he's played in 658 games and scored 315 goals, more than McDavid has, and scored 772 points. The guy is an amazing talent, but
And he
the
played
team
two
is not.
years on one leg, so I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
the team is not winning games like they want to, and they got to the playoffs finally, but didn't do much once they were there. So I think they're going to have to start to make some drastic changes, and if that is him, then that'd be great. But some other guys might be, Evan Bouchard, defenseman who played for the London Knights and is now playing for them. Pretty high draft pick there, top 10 pick there. Um, a Dylan Holloway who's kind of had a subpar play, but any number of guys on that
See, that's why I'm
roster
asking you,
in
Lance,
that
because
system,
if long
they
if
don't
it's
have a lot of draft
Drysaddle,
picks.
that's why I'm trying to tell you.
Right.
Unless it's Drysaddle, there's really nobody in Edmonton that I really want. To be honest with you, there's really
Yeah,
just nothing. I
I
don't want
agree
what
with
they
you.
got. I don't want what they got unless it's either Drysdale or McDavid.
Yeah.
Okay, seriously. In my opinion,
No, I mean I can agree with you. There's not many picks there. I think what the Edmonton have 3 picks this summer. They're trying to win now, and it hasn't worked for them. So I think some major changes are going to happen for that
I
GM to be able to keep his job. I think he knows he's on thin ice there in Edmonton. But like I said, I think a more likely guy, maybe not to the Oilers, but Sean Walker being moved by the Flyers. This is a guy
okay,
who
okay,
was traded by the
different deal
Kings.
than like Carter Hart to the Edmonton Oilers or anything like that, right?
Well, I mean, that's a lot tougher. There's a lot more to go into that, and the teams are going to have to battle it out and stuff to be able to agree upon a deal where both sides feel they're getting something from it and not losing out.
Because
Both of
I'm
those
here to
players
tell you,
mentioned,
I'm with you, man. Because if you want to get rid of if you want to trade Carter Hart,
you got to bring somebody back.
you can't get a haul like you did with Claude Giroux. You need to have number one
Yeah.
draft pick guaranteed. You need to have a roster ready guy, and you need to have a prospect. That's just how it has to be. You can't
Well,
just say, oh, we'll get a this or maybe. No, man, that's what you need. You know what I'm saying?
well, I think Briere has done his due diligence by naming what it would actually take for him to actually entertain a trade for Carter Hart. Um, and that's where it's going to be until maybe trade deadline, and if anybody willing enough to put up that kind of draft capital and all that, and prospects within their system already,
Yeah.
for that to even become anything real. But like I said, Sean Walker is a more likely candidate. He's a guy that the Flyers got within the trade with LA and Columbus. He came over from the Kings, a solid defender that is underrated, definitely in my book. But he's got an expiring contract, right?
Yeah.
He's got an
Yeah.
expiring
Yeah.
contract at the end of the season. Um, it's pretty cap friendly as of now at $2.6 million. But
Yeah.
I don't know if the Flyers are going to be able to retain him. He's 29 years old. He's getting to that end of his career, and maybe having another year or two, three, depending on injuries. That are good years for a player. And I don't know. I think he's going to try to cash in because this season he's had a pretty darn good year with the
I mean,
Flyers.
we'll take it.
And you know, but I think they're going to be willing to move on from him
It makes sense
if
too.
they can get something from him. Because, like Briere said, they're looking for that player, that building for the future that is still coming, right? So if they can get I don't know, second or third round draft pick for him, depending, they're going to
Yeah.
probably do it because I
Yeah. Yeah.
don't think that they have even the need for him moving forward when you got guys like Emil Andre and all those that we previously mentioned,
Not to
even in
mention.
the show and others, that are up and coming,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is a player that I see the Flyers moving to be able to gain more draft capital to continue to build for the future.
I'm with you on that, and that makes a lot more sense because of and I think there might even be some other players that do might go by the wayside based off of that as well too. Because you pick up Helgi Grans, another defender. Do you know what I mean? And then there's the list of the defenders that are on the way up, Ronnie Atards, and all the ones that we talked about earlier, right? So I'm with you on that. So that does kind of make him a little bit expendable either at the trade deadline or at the end of this year, especially with an expiring contract. But we'll take his play right now, and as far as I'm concerned, he's been one of the linchpins as far as the success of the blue line of what's been going on here with Philadelphia. Okay, and so we'll take that all day long, man. You know what I'm saying? Now, the Flyers don't play again until what, tomorrow, I think, right? And they're playing against Carolina. Um, Another game against Carolina, which the last game they did really well. It was 3-1. Philadelphia won. The team looked really good. They outshot Carolina. They held Carolina to shots. That's the one thing that I've noticed about this team is that when they are on, the Flyers, I mean, then the opposition has very few shots on goal. They hold the opposition to minimal shots on goal, which is like the other game against the Islanders. The Islanders went 17 game minutes without a shot on goal.
Hmm.
I mean, that's how you win games. That
Yeah.
that's how you win games, guys. You know what I'm saying, right? So
Well, and that's another reason why the Flyers may listen to trade offers for Carter Hart, the play of Sam,
oh
right?
my gosh,
Sam,
dude, the shutout. How
Sam,
you doing?
Sam, Sam had an excellent game, even a shutout, 25 saves versus the Islanders. He's stepped up last year as a backup role and at times, and has come in and filled in nicely when Carter went down for a little bit, and even when he takes nights off, he does stuff like he did, Saturday. So this is something that he's a player that could get us over the hump until maybe somebody else who we've already drafted or who we could potentially draft with the draft capital that we get for a trade for Carter Hart,
Can we get another
you know,
Carter?
in the future.
Right? Can we get another Carter?
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be nice? Carter
Right?
George,
Yeah,
he's
right. Can we
referring
get
to who we
another
had
Carter?
on Prospect
Yeah,
Watch join us.
yeah,
Yes.
man.
Yeah,
Woo!
from
Right.
Owen Sound Attack, great young goaltender
Oh
who
my
just joined
gosh,
us on
man.
that
Dude,
show.
did you see the I can't remember who it was, if it was Cryptic Cowboy or somebody else, or East Philly said, how many Carters can we handle?
Hmm.
Right?
I think we could
Trust
handle another one.
we
Yeah,
could
because
handle
after
this.
yeah, after that show that we filmed with him, I think the next night he posted a 50 save shutout. So yeah, we
50
could deal with two.
saves.
We could deal with two.
Yeah, yeah. We could have another Carter. This would be a Carter George instead of a Carter
Yeah.
Hart. Anyway, by the way, folks, got to go over to the YouTube channel and check that video out. Also, go over to SteelFlyers.com. Check that video out too, where we welcomed Carter George, a great goaltender from the Owen Sound Attack. And that video was posted out on Friday, so go to the channel and check that out, man, for sure. Lance, you just released an article today, did you not?
I did. I did. I just finished putting the final touches on an article right before we jumped on here and posted it out. It's a prospect article, and it's a review of some 2023 NHL draft prospects who are proving to be quite the steals.
I tell you what, man, I can't wait to get my eyeballs on it. That's for sure, because the Flyers have actually picked in Danny Briere's first draft, and
Mhm.
let's face it, Chuck Fletcher's last draft, right? Those two draft classes have combined to put out some pretty decent players for the Flyers in the system right now coming up. And man, I tell you what, I can't wait to read that article, Lance. Man, it's still dripping. It's freshly minted, right? You know what I'm saying? So,
Right.
man, Lance, I'll tell you what, bro. Thank you very much for all you do. Appreciate everything that you do here, man. Why don't you tell the folks where we can find you, where we can get you?
Sure. You can catch all my articles and our shows at steelflyers.com. And you can catch me on Twitter at lance.green39.
For sure, for sure. You got to go over to steelflyers.com, check out Lance's latest article that he posted out here about the prospects coming good for the Flyers, and also all of his other articles that he posts out about the Flyers and about Prospect Watch. So you got to go check that out. And also check out all the great shows that we have out there at Prospect Watch, the Hockey Writers Ink. Got to go check that out at the SteelFlyers.com All Sports Network. Thank you all very much for watching. I'm your co-host, SteelFlyers. You can find me on Twitter at SteelFlyers52. You can also find the show on Twitter at HCKY Writers Inc. That's at HCKY Writers Inc. On Twitter. So follow us there on Twitter for sure. Go over to the website, post a question. We'd love to hear from you. Stay tuned for the next couple shows. We're going to have some special guests coming up for you guys. So stay tuned for that, man, for sure. Can't wait to get into it. Lance, thank you very much for another great show.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. We will catch you guys all on the next episode of the Hockey Writers Inc.